Hi, John.
Hey, Alex.
Do you know what I hate?
What's that?
I fucking hate the modal nodes, but I love me some Figure and Dan.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, we watched that. Oh, I didn't even check in with you. Have you watched the whole thing, or do you just watch the 2 episodes?
I have just watched the 2 episodes.
Okay, good. I was going to leave it spoiler free for the audience anyway, but so I won't do that thing where I go, oh, we'll edit this out later, and then tell you how the series ends.
I'll tell you what, though, if we weren't doing the show, I would not be watching any more of it.
Oh, really?
It is boring.
Huh.
I do not care about what is happening. I liked Werner Herzog.
Yeah, he's good.
And that's about it. It would, you know what? Probably I would relegate it to it's on while I'm doing like cooking or doing dishes or something.
Yeah.
So this is not a show worth devoting your attention to so far.
So this is partially my fault because I forgot how the episodes broke down. We should have done 3 episodes. Because not to say that it's like a drastic change, because I think the first 2 are fucking brilliant, but that's in context of having seen the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a little slow, though. I like that second one. I think kind of moves pretty peppy when he does the Sandcrawler run.
Where he does a fetch quest to power up his engines. That was thrilling. I guess my problem is overall with this whole thing, I don't care what's at stake. I don't know anything about this character. He's a man with no name, tough mercenary guy. What happens if he doesn't deliver Yoda? I don't know. What happens if he does? I don't know.
Well, he gets money. He gets the Beskar steel.
Right, which I deeply care about.
So, I mean, I get what you're saying, but you basically just said that every Western is boring.
No, that's not true, because every Western. The Westerns they'll have characters, or at least the characters will have facial expressions.
No, I got you.
Or stuff that you can connect with. I'm looking at an action figure.
Yeah, the lack of facial expression is difficult, but I like the Mandalorian, like the man. I'm not going to say what he's called, but as a character, I think it's interesting to have the lack of facial expression and no talking. It's an interesting choice, and you're right. I think it gets easier as it goes, but I think watching it again, because this is my kind of first like full rewatch. I watched like bits and pieces after the first time I watched it, just because like there's some cool shit. But I think they should have maybe paced a little bit quicker. Like episode 1 and 2 should have maybe been either one episode, or in my probably better way to do it is to do it all in a flashback over the course of the series. Because there's a lot of footwork being laid down, and that first episode is not brisk.
It is, well, it's very clunky in some of the writing and a lot of the dialogue. But it's also, like I said, like right now I'm 2 episodes into this 8-episode show, and there's no stakes as far as I know. Like, I guess I'm not supposed to want Baby Yoda to die, which I'll get into things I hate about Baby Yoda a little later. But
I think you're banned from that because you hate Baby Yoda from the internet, and I feel like you're bringing too much internet.
I think I have legitimate like meta, like outside of things. Like I hate how cynical Baby Yoda, like the invention of Baby Yoda is.
All right, I'll allow it.
But there's things I don't like about Baby Yoda in the show that just don't make sense to me. But
no, I'm kind of with you too, to be honest. It's just my problem with the hate against Baby Yoda that a lot of people had was they got mad at moms on Facebook, and it's like that's nothing to do with the show. There's problems on the show. Let's focus on those.
But I think Baby Yoda was designed for that. Is what I find irritating.
To an extent, but I don't think there's any way anybody could predict the psychotic level of what happened with Baby Yoda and moms on the internet.
Minions exist.
There's like there's full Facebook groups devoted to like, this is my baby, and mom's having like empty nest syndrome to the asset.
I'm not even talking about that. That is an insane thing.
Yeah, no one could have predicted that. That's if you predicted that, then you should like be. I mean, you should. I don't know. There's no like game shows anymore, but you should go on a game show and win the money. I would have said in the 80s. I would have said, because boy, you know a lot of stuff.
But I do like the idea of like, well, I could see in the future, and I predicted that. But coronavirus, federal agents in our streets, all stuff. No idea. But I was right about Baby Yoda.
Yeah, swing and a miss on that one. Yeah. All right. So also the reason I think you don't like it, is it because you die in the first episode?
No, I'm actually thrilled about dying in the first episode.
Yeah, that Brian Posehn is in it, who is your.
It was my doppelganger. I was told once at a comedy show that I'm his stunt double, which is lovely. Yeah, that was again another example of some pretty clunky dialogue in the first look, where they're having a discussion about whatever those things were under the ice.
Yeah,
just the way it was done was kind of clunky, is all.
No, it totally. That was here's why I thought it got away with it, because I want to. There's a lot of this show this actually feels like Star Wars to me, and it makes me it covers up a lot of its problems by it having a like episode 4 feel to it. And I mean original Star Wars, like the motion picture before it was called episode 4, before any like weird, some guy stepping in shit with CGI'd into the background. So opening up on like the kind of Mos Eisley Cantina, it's weird and gross and terrible, and people get slaughtered for no good reason. Oh, this feels like the movie I used to like, and it's a breath of fresh air. And in the same way that Star Wars, you can ignore the vast majority of it not making a lot of sense and the dialogue being dog shit. It looks cool, and cool shit happens. And you're like, all right, whatever. Well, kisses his sister a little bit.
This is some of my problem, and in two different ways. One is that I think a lot of my problems with it being uninteresting and Mando himself having like no facial expressions or anything like that is that if it was visually interesting, and it's not, it's pretty boilerplate. Like if you were just took away the Mandalorian and had to be just some sci-fi action hero, like it doesn't matter. There's nothing special about this, the way it looked, at least for these first 2 episodes. On the other side of it, though, is, well, I kind of agree with like, oh yeah, all right, here we are, crummy bar, getting into the seedy side of Star Wars. Guess what we do? We go to a desert planet, because of course we do. No, which I'm starting to think like, no, that is Star Wars, is going to a desert planet now.
I didn't mind it in this case, because I've somewhat forgiven the desert planet for
I just thought it was. I mean, the fact that it's supposed to have more of a Western feel totally makes sense. Yeah, which is based on what we were talking about on the last episode. It struck me as funny.
I'm now thinking of, and this breaks my brain, is I'm thinking of the 6 actual Star Wars movies and then the recent 3. But the fact that people were on a desert planet is they were living on the fringes and scraping by at like at the most bottom rung awful level. I mean, Annie and his mom were fucking slaves in 1, 2, 3,
Right.
That kind of, so I can forgive that. But no, you're totally right. I actually had that thought. I'm like, oh God, yeah, you're right. It is another fucking stupid shit.
But I mean, like, because I knew, it totally feels like it's trying to be a Western thing. It's like, absolutely. And there are some lovely vistas, certainly.
Well, we should talk about the Vista thing. Did you watch, I can't imagine you watched any of the behind the scenes stuff, but do you know how they shot this?
Nope.
It's fucking cool. So like, they did this entire show on one set, and they basically invented a new way of doing rear screen projection, like back in the day where, like, if you're driving a car in a 1950s movie, you see that, I'm explaining to the audience, I know you do, but that you see like the janky background moving around and it doesn't move with the car and it looks really stupid. They did
audience,
this.
I know what you're talking about.
They did this. Yes,
I
audience at home, John is really good at movie stuff, and this is not explaining it to him. He totally didn't know. But they did this I forget what they called it, but this giant fucking room that all the walls and part of the ceiling is like LCD kind of display that's computer controlled, so it adjusts to the camera motion and where the people are standing, and also gives actual like light from the backgrounds. So the characters are lit like they're actually in situ on in like outside. So
that's like slightly more interesting than a green screen, yeah.
Yeah, but it looks really cool. So if you watch them shooting, like they're on a set, but the set looks like where they're going. There's one spot where they're like shooting by a ship that I won't give away what it is. You watch them shooting it behind the scenes, and they're next to a ship with the entire background that looks like they're somewhere, and then there's like a little bit of green at like the bottom right, because that needs to be what chroma keyed out or whatever the hell you call it in proper. It's a cool thing, and it makes it look. It's very believable, because if I didn't know that, I would have thought they just went, oh yeah, they just shot it in a desert. Like it just looks like it's shot outside. Yeah,
I honestly didn't know that. I mean, and granted, like I was relegated to watching this thing on my computer, so maybe it looks a little bit different on a bigger screen. But certainly it fooled me, I guess.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes are not impressive use of it, but later. I'm not giving much away to say that there's some space stuff in this show, and boy, it looks great.
Cool.
But yeah, if when you're done, watch that first episode of Behind the Scenes. It's all the directors talking about how they shot it, and it's really interesting. Not the whole episode, just basically there's one spot where they show you how they shot it, and it's really interesting. The other thing to discuss on because we're introducing the 8 episode thing we're doing is these are all directed by different people.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean that's a thing why I'm like not ready to completely write off this show, because it's like there are going to be different. Like I said, I think part of the reason I find it boring so far is that it has been, and it visually has not been that interesting. Despite yes, now knowing the behind the scenes stuff about it, that's slightly interesting, but that's not going to keep me going through the show. But as more adventures start happening, because I loved the Werner Herzog stuff and the Carl Weathers stuff, him interacting with those people was great.
Well, Carl Weathers is fucking MVP of this show. He is so good. Yeah.
There's something about his performance. There's a certain amount of levity to it. It's almost like when he's Carl Weathers on Arrested Development, where it feels like he knows this whole thing is kind of a joke, but he's having fun with it.
Yeah.
Or he's just excited to be there. I don't know, but there's something about him that really just as soon as I saw him, just lightened the mood of the entire show.
Yeah. And, I like that, his name is Krieg Vissla. It's such a Star Wars name, but
that is an extreme Star Wars name.
Here's the thing that I hate about him in this. And this is, I 100% blame it on Carl Weathers. Is those sons of bitches letting him call the Mandalorian Mando. I'm never spelling Mandalorian right anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, he gets called Mando right in the first scene.
But that's not how you spell Mandalorian, and I'm not good at spelling, and it's really frustrating because I've tried to text you about 100 times going Manda. Oh, motherfucker, I have to look it up again. First episode is directed by Dave Filoni, I think him and Favreau are going to be the new Kathleen Kennedy when she gets booted. He's the guy that's behind all the cartoon stuff. He did Clone Wars and Rebels, which a lot of that is very, very good. But he's not a live action director, and I think it showed in that episode.
There were a couple of moments that bordered on really cool for me, like when Mandalorian goes and visits his mom or whatever, the priestess. I don't know what you call that character.
Oh yeah, blacksmith lady. Yeah.
There was something about that scene that really, honestly, gave me some Nicholas Winding Refn vibes of just the slow push in through this weird temple thing, and I'm like, man, if they really leaned into that and had it be this much more mythic feeling thing rather than just he's in a basement wearing a trash can on his head. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I think that's Dave Filoni. It might just be him not kind of figuring out live action yet, because I think the way it's shot, I think if it was cartoon, kind of makes sense to be cut this way, but there's some spots that was weird, kind of tonally, and there was a little bit of, and I think it's because it's episode 1, there was a little bit of sucking Star Wars' dick that, and I loved it the first time I saw it, and then watching it, and I'm like, shut up. So at one point, when he's going to see Werner Herzog, that ball pops out and goes Atapinki, that ball thing from Jabba's palace. I'm like, yes, it's the ball thing. But then, there's a few of those, and it's all right.
That made me excited just because that it was okay, clearly that's a thing on a stick.
Yes.
And it made me happy. I'm like, okay, well, this thing's not just devoted to.
Yeah, I had no problem with the Atapinki ball. It's just, there's, right after the Werner Herzog scene, there's Salacious Crumb kebabs.
Yeah, which actually really bummed me out. Yeah. Not that I've been a huge Salacious Crumb, but it's you're showing a thing that gets jokes, a fellow thing of that thing dying. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It seems so needlessly cruel, the Salacious Crumb.
Beyond the cruel part, it's just it was another reference, and then shortly after that, they did a center wipe or a circle wipe, some very Lucasian wipe, and this is a little. I think maybe they hit the gas a little hard on the Lucas pedal of trying to make, because as I said, I think this feels like Star Wars to me, but there's a couple spots that felt a little dude, boy, you're really trying to Star Wars this up. And the circle wipe was, come on, look, we all love Star Wars, but
fault the Star Wars for having a wipe.
No, I'm not faulting Star Wars for having a wipe, but the Mandalorian having a circle wipe is I mean, all right. I guess I don't really have a problem with it. It's just that in an episode of the 9 references in a half an hour show, maybe there was 1 or 2 too many, and the wipe is oh, come on, let's That's why I opened this episode to talk about, the jizz whaling,
Right.
Figure and Dan in a modal nodes, where just like, it's a fun Star Wars reference. I'm glad it's not in here, but if there was jizz whaling in here, I'd be upset. And I just brought that up because I wanted to say jizz whaling.
Yeah, we all know. But I will say the one nod it had to the newer Star Wars was when the terrible fish man was like, don't stay on the ice, understatement of the millennium.
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy, here we go. But then that was it. That was the one like new Star Wars style joke that was on there.
Yeah.
I thought the rest were like, okay.
I had that written down, and I deleted it later because nowhere in the rest of the episode did they do like, that's so wizard, Andy. Like, it's one clunky bit. And again, very Star Warsy. It's one clunky bit with bad slang that feels very Star Wars.
Yeah.
That was the other one. Oh, so the first clunky reference was there's a Life Day reference in that first chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
yeah,
that was, because that's the one that made me like, because when I first, I know nothing about this the first time I'm walking into watching Mandalorian, and Life Day reference really early on, it's like, oh boy. Especially because it's Brian Posehn and the fish guy is Horatio Sands. This is some weird.
Okay, that's why it sounded so familiar. I meant to look up who that was, but
some. Once Carl Weathers, he shows up right after that. So I'm like, already forgotten about.
Yeah, we've moved on. So on his ship, when he's taking the fish guy on his ship, and he sees the fish guy goes to the bathroom. Which is this the first canonical Star Wars bathroom?
I think so. Yeah, they call it a refresher, and I love it.
He calls it like a vac tube or something.
Yeah. No, he calls it the refresher.
Well, anyway,
I did just because I wrote it down. Unless I made that up, but that doesn't sound like something I'd make up.
I wish they would call this a refresher.
Yeah, I mean, I'm weird, but I'm not like scat weird. Like that's.
But he's looking around the Mandalorian ship, and he finds all these like all his marks frozen in carbonite.
Yeah. Which
got me thinking, because this is like, years. Is this supposed to take place post-Empire but pre-new movies?
I don't... post-Jedi, you mean?
Or post-Jedi, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that. That's where I place it, because they say... There's a line in... the first episode, because Weathers tries to pay him an Imperial credit, and he says the Empire is dead, and he's like, it still spends.
Yeah, so and then Werner Herzog, I mean, the fact that there are still like these rusty old stormtroopers, and Werner Herzog's like, things need to get back to their proper order.
Yeah.
Makes me think that they're
it must be shortly after Jedi.
Well, just because and this is nitpicky, but just in terms of like being referential or whatever, when they froze Han in carbonite, it was like a big thing. It was like in a factory and a thing. Yeah. And now you have pocket smelters, basically. You can just do it on a ship.
Yeah. Well,
it was cool. I mean, it was cool, but I just got me thinking, like, wait, wasn't that like a giant factory thing that he was in when they did that? But
I also wonder that because he's a bounty hunter and this is like necessary equipment, I wonder if the Cloud City being run by, let's face it, Lando's not the most competent administrator. I wonder if he's using old ass, like, prequel era carbonite freezing units, and now they have like really slimline fancy ones.
I don't think it's a necessity, because it seemed like it was a risky thing to try to freeze Han in carbonite.
No, because they were using an industrial one in that.
Oh, so this is like, okay.
Because
it's like using like an industrial power tool to chop a 2x4 versus like my karate skills. Which are equally deadly, but smaller and more precise.
Although I love hearing about your karate skills, I'm not in love with that simile, metaphor, or whatever that is, analogy. I was thinking more along the lines of like a power saw versus one of those tiny like Dremel, the surgical Dremels that they use in operating theater.
Thing. Yeah, I operate with my karates.
It's true. They do call you the surgeon of pain.
Uh-huh.
I had the thought too, but I recently rewatched Return of the Jedi in the bastard form that's on Disney Plus, and you make a reference to it being like, well, this is a commercial version of a carbonite thing. Who knows if they're going to survive? So I wonder. Yeah, there probably is like a fancy one.
Because certainly no one, like when they were offloading his quarry, no one seemed to care. No one was like, well, this is weird. He's just hauling around these frozen bodies.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably like a known thing, but they're like, oh, really? You did it in the one in the basement? Shit, no, you should have gone to Dr. Carbo's down on Cloud Ave. It's in the Cloud District.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Like you could do Like your specialty is that you wake up, you get frozen carbonite, but you wake up with like super minty breath, and it's actually very refreshing.
Yeah.
You have like carbonite spas.
I had this conversation years ago about that, of whether or not Han Solo had morning breath when he came out of carbonite.
That's a good question.
I lean no, because I feel like the bacteria would be frozen as well.
Yes, I feel like though, like that's got to leave like an awful taste in your mouth, though. Like,
yes,
not necessarily the bacteria, but like you have not necessarily morning breath, but you have carbonite breath.
Yeah, you have something funky. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's probably the right answer, but either way.
I love.
I think we really need to talk about Werner Herzog a little bit more because we got to get on to episode 2 at some point. But if there's been better casting in the universe, I don't know of it.
For talking about the show not having any sort of stakes or whatever, like he just oozes menace.
Yeah.
In everything he does, just cruelty and menace, and like I don't want him to win, but I'm still not involved in anything to do with that. But just I don't like him. He's a baddie. Because
he talks about like, basically, if you kill the thing, it's fine. And then Dr. Pershing is like, no, we want it alive. And he's so desperately trying to save, Baby Yoda. Well, that's before we even know it's a Baby Yoda. But like looking back on that speech, he's just like, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, you can kill it if you want. We just,
being pragmatic, just as long as we have it, whatever.
Yeah.
I just like that whole scene. Just the way like the beat up stormtroopers seemed really like more menacing than stormtroopers usually are. It felt like a crime boss, but you know what the Empire is capable of or whatever. So that was another sort of breath of life in this whole thing that makes me a little bit curious of the rest of it. Just
his quote, the Beskar belongs in the hands of the Mandalorian. It is good to restore the natural order of things after a period of such disarray. It is, he could be saying that after Timothy Treadwell got eaten by that bear. Like, that is such a fucking Werner Herzog thing to say. It's beautiful. After he sees Werner Herzog, he goes to the blacksmith. And this was the thing I noted down just to point out, like, how Star Wars it feels. And I figured out why. So he talks to the blacksmith lady, and she says, this was gathered in the Great Purge. And that's Star Wars to me. Not the Purge, but like, it's like when it reminded me of Lando when he goes, well, I guess they heard about my Battle of Tanab. But you don't hear anything about the backstory. You know nothing about it. They just say a thing happened, and you just get to use your imagination as a little boy playing with Star Wars toys. And and I love that. Just this was gathered in the Great Purge. I don't know what Mandalore is. I don't know what the Purge is. I don't know what any of this shit is. But that works perfectly for me. Thank you, weird Mandalorian lady in the sewer.
Yeah. Looks like a Dark Souls 2 character. It was very impressive. But like that whole that bit there is another sort of kind of clunky thing where he gives her the portable hard drive looking thing that's Beskar steel, and she goes like, "Oh man, there's a bunch here. We can use it to something like help give money to the foundlings." I was a foundling. I have backstory.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, thanks. I know you mention it every time I see you. That just felt like so shoehorned in there. Even if they just like had the flashbacks or something, but the fact that they had him going, "Oh, I was a foundling."
And this is, okay, I think that's the Dave Filoni showing through. I think somebody else directing it would have kept that in, but did not have him say that line. Just have the flashbacks when she's hitting the hammer and he has the flashbacks. That's enough. But it's over the top when he had just said, "Well, I was a foundling." So it's because
you could have it be something where he's thinking about like, oh, is he thinking about people he's murdered and leaving the children behind, or oh no, it's him. But this is just
I would just like to walk back your criticism here, though. You realize that, like, if something from a video game looks like something in The Mandalorian, it's probably because The Mandalorian, it looks like Star Wars, and that video game took it from Star Wars. I mean,
I never said it. What are you talking about? Did I say it looked like a video game?
The
Dark Souls.
I think that's a video game. But I
mean, it's a video game about knights because she's wearing like a fur thing.
Yeah, she's wearing Mandalorian armor with a cloak on. I mean, that's as Star Wars as you can get.
Yeah, there's the one Mandalorian character anyone's seen, Boba Fett.
And Jango Fett. Right,
but he wasn't wearing fur.
No, but I mean, we've seen people with fur in Star Wars. I mean, the entire Hoth battle station had a fur set. It's one of Carrie Fisher's best outfits.
Just look at the cover art for Dark Souls 2.
Well, yeah, I guess they probably grew up watching Star Wars. I'm just saying, you can't fault something for looking like a thing that the other thing stole it from.
faulting it. I'm just saying it looks like Dark Souls 2. That's it.
You were flippant.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did not give this unnamed character the respect she deserves.
Damn straight. She's like, she possibly could be Gwendolyn Stacy. Who's that tall lady from Game of Thrones?
Spider-Man's girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. I can't think. What's her name? Tall lady from Game of Thrones. Actually, she was in Star Wars already.
Yeah, but I don't know the actress's name.
What's her name? It's I'm gonna type in tall lady from Game of Thrones.
Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh, I was actually a lot closer. I was just joking around when I said Gwen Stacy. Yeah, she got her vibe. Maybe it is her. Who cares? Nick Nolte is an Ugnaught.
Well, Nick Nolte does the voice of an Ugnaught.
No, Nick Nolte is an Ugnaught. I don't know if you see pictures of him recently. He's an Ugnaught.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd say he got off easy then.
You're right. He says, I have spoken too often, and spoiler alert, that's not the last time you're going to hear him say it.
Yeah, not surprised.
So,
I mean, I liked his character was fine.
Yeah.
I think I could have done without the him learning to ride that thing. That went on for a really long time. And again, like, since I can't see this character's face or anything, like, is this supposed to be funny? Is he struggling?
Yeah.
Is he whatever? No, it's just he should take off his helmet though. That will somehow help him to ride better. Okay. I did like his interaction with those. I hate that they're called blurgs. I think that's a pretty lazy sci-fi name.
Yeah.
Not
good.
It's like some Rick and Morty stuff. But like when the thing bites his arm and his flamethrower goes off, I thought that was kind of cool because it also lets you know, like, oh, he's got a flamethrower. But
well, that's established in the prequels as well. The Mandalorians have flamethrowers.
Yeah, I don't remember the prequels that well. I've blocked them all out.
Maybe that was in the cartoons, or maybe Boba Fett has one. I don't remember. There's been a Mandalorian with a flamethrower before this. I don't remember where the fuck it was.
Because Boba Fett had more of a. Oh no, Boba. Now I'm thinking of the Nintendo 64 video game.
Yeah, I've had too much Star Wars in my head. I don't remember where anything comes from.
Yeah.
So I like Nick Nolte as that. I just think they overdid the I have spoken, and that shows back up. Nice to see Nick Nolte. Blurg lessons are stupid, but here's the thing I like about that kind of area is it starts to set up and him kind of sucking at the blurg and getting his ass kicked every time he gets in a fight is nice. Cause this is a hair's breadth away from him being, I'm so fucking cool. I can do everything great the first time. Mm-hmm. And he gets the shit kicked out of him, which this show would suck if he was better at his job.
Sure.
Cause he gets his ass into him. Like his armor keeps getting destroyed. That is nice. Cause he's got that like kind of Han Solo, I'm swaggery, but I suck at this. Mm-hmm. Boy, if he was just good, if they wrote it like they wrote your favorite Westworld, where it's just like each character is exactly this and no more than this. Oh boy, this show I would not have watched past episode 2.
Yeah. Or at least, I mean, if they, and maybe they do later, gave him some formidable foes, that would help reduce that. But that hasn't happened yet. But
we're going to get to episode 2, but okay, episode 1, the only other thing we have to talk about is IG-11, really.
Right. Well, because the Nick Nolte, the Ungwint, tells the Mandalorian, like, oh yeah, there's been a bunch of people looking for this dude. Your quarry, he's over here, and he takes him to a place where some guys are doing something, and then sets him loose. But his plan to stop these guys from doing things and get the thing. At first, I thought it was IG-88. Because I didn't really realize there was more than one, and I was curious about the chronology of this because most of what I know of IG-88 is all expanded universe stuff, and IG-88 and expanded universe is weird and bonkers and great, and this IG-11 is pretty stupid, and I was worried they did my man dirty.
No, it's IG-11, and I'm torn between agreeing with you and liking Taika Waititi so much that I kind of like IG-11.
Mm-hmm. There are things about IG-11 that's kind of funny, like his constantly wanting to self-destruct. Like the idea, the germ of a joke was there, but like it didn't make sense in the context of what, like, we're behind this thing, I'm going to blow up. Well, no, shoot that guy. Oh, okay, I will. Like, is he just a bad assassin droid? Or like there wasn't enough there for me to like, other than to identify, like, you're making funny here.
Yeah, or he's the most realistic depiction of what an android would be. of, oh wait, he listens to the sentient humanoids near him, instead of, yeah. But I was just thinking, when in the non-jokey parts where he's just spinning around straight and murdering people, boy, I hope Boston Dynamics doesn't watch this, because that is fucking frightening.
Yeah, the way he's animated is really cool. Again, I feel like the way it was shot like diminished some of that, because it seemed a little bit less impressive. It just seemed kind of like boilerplate actiony stuff, like we would have seen even in Sniper with Steven Seagal. Although, except I knew where people were in this. But at the same time, I don't think you have to do a whole lot to make that animation look cool. But it still didn't feel as dynamic, I feel like, as it could have.
Yeah.
But it was a freaky deaky robot move.
Yeah, it just because the thing is, I can imagine that, and frankly, like, I don't know how to program, but like, it wouldn't take me long to program. I mean, it's a swivel turret and something that, fires when it sees movement. Mm-hmm. That can be like, that can happen like soon. Like, that is fucking frightening.
Yeah. I think, but yeah, your balance probably would be an issue, but yeah. But it was certainly neat, because it's not, IG-88 was never anything you really saw in action.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's cool to kind of see that, because it's a weird looking droid to begin with. In the expanded universe, IG-88 was the second Death Star.
No.
He got into the second Death Star. Like he uploaded his consciousness to the second Death Star.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. The expanded universe stuff was so great.
Did Vader fuck it like Lando fucked the Millennium Falcon after Phoebe Waller-Bridge when it got uploaded into it?
Yeah, that did not become canonical at this point. That was relegated to like slash fiction or whatever.
No, that's when he came too quickly.
Ugh.
What I liked about this, and it kind of plays out in the second episode, but you made a point of like he had to go and stop these people. He doesn't give a shit about stopping these people. He just needed to get his bounty.
Well,
so
yeah.
If there was no one there, he would have shot no one.
Right.
And I just think that's kind of important, because one of the things, by the big Baby Yoda reveal. But I think the important thing about the Baby Yoda reveal is that Mandalorian doesn't like him. Which is, I really like that he doesn't give a shit about this thing for two fucking episodes, or an episode and some change. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not alone. The idea that this thing is 50 years old is phenomenally stupid. What kind of race of things is going to have a baby that stays a baby for 50 years? How is that at all helpful to a species?
Well, I mean, you and I are part of a species that has the longest outside of womb gestation period of anything. I mean, we stay a baby for far longer than anybody. Like, it is.
Yeah, and look how we turned out. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I mean, the idea is that it's to increase our intelligence. Maybe them aging slowly is to increase their force.
Ugh.
No, actually, my thought was it being 50 years old, and spoiler alert, this isn't revealed over the course of the show. So just because I'm telling you, hey, I get to hypothesize here. My guess is that 50 years is a reference to it being cloned or something like that. That it's not revealed, so I could be wrong. So don't hate the show for that thought, because the 50 years doesn't like. Really,
I mean, I don't hate it. It's more just. I mean, it's a thing. I'm like,
no,
okay,
it's annoying.
Fine. I just think it's kind of dumb.
But why did they say it? Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
That part,
yeah, exactly. Like if they just never made it a point that this thing's like, but it's 50. Yeah, I wouldn't have noticed or cared.
No, that threw me too. But I was thinking it hangs there so heavy that's got to come into play in season 2. That 50 years is referencing something. Because if you do the math, that would be it's not exactly it, but it would be around when the clones were just being bought. When, I can't remember the name of the Jedi that started the clone army, that like Palpatine tricked into it. But it would be, within 10 years of that number. So it's possible that this is like a long-term storytelling deal, which Dave Filoni is really good at.
That would be somewhat interesting. I would give it that.
Yeah, because Filoni is a really good writer and showrunner. It just, I don't think he's used to directing.
But as far as him getting a thing that he doesn't care about or like, I mean, that's pretty boilerplate. I mean, Six String Samurai, he gets this little companion he doesn't give a shit about.
No, I'm not saying, of course, but you're saying you're as much as you hate how Yoda is designed to be loved, it's nice that they didn't make him love it immediately.
Ah.
Like, it's just, it's kind of the entire point. Like, yeah, no, that is not a uncommon trope in Westerns. Like, oh shit, I'm stuck with this fucking guy, you know? Yeah. But in this one, it's, oh, look, this wide-eyed, adorable thing. It's like, ah, fuck you. I'm going to lock you in your goddamn, cradle.
Yeah. Which leads me, like, even in the second episode, like, why even open the damn thing? Just keep it shut.
Yeah. I mean, well, because they want to sell Yoda toys.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I'll just keep that baby trapped away.
All right. So episode 2, he's walking back to try to get to his ship, and turns out the Jawas have stolen his ship. Well, first he beats up some sand people or whatever they're called, right. Which I like that he disintegrates them, because that plays off of that thing that Darth Vader said that one time.
I don't recall.
Vader, the only scene with IG-88 in it in the actual movies. Where the famous bounty hunter scene, he goes, no disintegrations.
No disintegrations, right.
So actually seeing a disintegration, although it is a very, very subtle, barely a reference. It was like, oh shit, look at that. Yeah. Mandalorian, they actually disintegrate people.
I just thought it was cool that he blew a guy.
No, also awesome. At no point do you have to be as big of a nerd as me to be able to name all the androids in a row from fucking Empire Strikes Back. But it was nice.
Yeah. But he does, he finds out that the Jawas have stripped his ship, and he proceeds to just lay waste to them.
See, please continue.
Well, just that,
okay. So
just starts blowing them away.
I love this sequence, and I love it because, one, he is a badass. He's just slaughtering these people, but then he just gets electrocuted and falls on his ass, because this show isn't. It's not the highest art, but it's better than it should have been, because there's a lot of people that just be like, yeah, and then the badass guy goes inside the sandcrawler and starts. Yeah. Nope. They just beat his ass. It's a very Han Solo-y moment, like, oh, fuck. And then just zap, fall on the ground and have to, it was a fun little thing. It felt like Star Wars. And that is like feeling oxygen again for the first time in a long time.
I did like when he climbed up and they were all waiting for him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But it's interesting because the Jawas just like do not care if some of them die. Apparently,
yes.
Because later they're just like, yeah, whatever. Like, we're not thrilled that you killed Terry, but whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of I love about them. It's
legit. It's legitimately interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of in some ways makes sense just because they're just this nomadic, like whatever, just scrounge.
Yeah.
But
and it's weird that there's and this is not the episode to have this conversation, but maybe at some point we do. But Star Wars has an interesting kind of almost scale of sentience where like Jawas are like, yeah, they can like drive a car and stuff, but like they're not really people. Like they're just like these kind of, and it's same with like sand people are like kind of monsters, but sort of people. Like, and droids are like kind of self-aware, but also they can be reprogrammed and their memories wiped. Like there's a weird, like sliding scale of kind of, consciousness in this universe.
Yes. Convenient consciousness.
I mean, some of it's not that convenient, though. I mean, it's
really convenient for the story.
Yeah, no, I guess so. Yeah, I just, if you spend a second thinking about it, it actually becomes like somewhat frightening.
Yeah, all consciousness is inconvenient. I'm Rust Cole. But yeah, he ends up trading with them to get his ship because Nick Nolte's like, we'll just trade your stuff back. We'll get it back.
Oh, and this is a delightful sequence. Just because they don't really like you. Well, one, they established that Mandalorians are really into their weapons, which, not shocking. It's essentially they're like, look, they're space samurais. But it's nice to see it established. But that when they're bartering and he basically lights that one Jawa on fire because he gets mad at him, is delightful.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. Like, I kind of wonder what they're trying to, because the violence in this is pretty, I mean, as with a lot of Star Wars, is pretty weightless,
Yeah.
It's just like, like a cartoon or something, and that's fine. It's Star Wars. But like for a lot of that, they'll show Baby Yoda. And so I'm curious if that's going to go anywhere. Like, as if it's like he's exposing Baby Yoda to all this violence. If Baby Yoda's going to go bad, shoot up a school or something.
Yeah, no, they actually go to Space Columbine in episode 3. Yeah.
Starts listening to Marilyn Manson. It's terrible.
Yeah. Yoda gets his like adorable trench coat.
Well, he kind of does. Just opens up his robe and he's like the Matrix inside, all black leather.
Yeah. Shiva the Destroyer I have become.
But yeah, he eventually, like, they want him to go get this egg. I forget how they say it, but
I think they just call it the egg.
Yeah, but I mean, what their word for it is, Shibuya or something.
Oh yeah,
they say it a million times. Which leads to your like sliding scale of consciousness or sentience, because it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go get it. Y'all are acting like, like 3-year-olds. Driving a giant tank around.
Well, I like how like it kind of, they're like, we need this egg. It's like, this kind of, it feels like it might be reverent or something holy, which is nice. Right. Then he has this brutal fight, which I like this sequence a lot. I
didn't.
Oh, really? Oh,
I did like the inside, him being inside the cockpit of that thing and how tiny it was, because they're all tiny people. Something about that I just really enjoyed, that he rode inside that. Because I think the only other time you see it is when like the droids are in there in the first Star Wars, and like they're like the warehousey part of it. But I just liked that tiny cockpit.
Yeah.
But again, it's this thing where it's like, is he actually in danger? Is this funny? Because some of it felt like it was played for laughs. I don't know. It just felt very flat. Like, just these things are happening now.
I don't know. I thought it looked nice. Like it was good pacing. Like, but I mean, yeah, he's in danger as much as a character could be. Like, there's a certain amount you have to ignore leading character armor, or you can't enjoy anything with a fight scene.
But I'm not saying it's like, well, I know he's not going to actually lead character. I'm just saying that there was no tension in that scene. There was like, it was, I think, like, because it had pretty much like no soundtrack, or if the soundtrack was there, it was very forgettable.
Yeah.
There was just, he was getting flung a lot, but not really, like, he was kind of hurt, I guess. I heard him grunt a couple of times, but I don't know how in danger he really was. Is this something where like it's Superman getting tossed around, or is it, Aunt May? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it felt, I don't know, it felt like, I don't want to say real, but it could have gone a way of like swelling John Williams' score, or like.
I think that's a mistake because you're doing Star Wars, and I mean, like, and granted, like, if you're doing this like grittier Star Wars, fine. I mean, it's certainly a way to go, but it just, there's something about it that just, because if he was like fighting like those two guys at the beginning versus like this some big monster.
Yeah.
It just, I think the fact that it was kind of more of a mythical or alien kind of thing took me out of it even more.
I took it as, I didn't think it could have alien at all. I thought they did creature design well, that it feels like, because this is a Western, I mean, that could be a buffalo or whatever. I mean, obviously it's got a big fucking horn in its head, but like that creature, if you read in a book that those actually exist in Africa somewhere, you wouldn't be like, oh shit, there's no way those exist. Like, that just looks like a big dumb beast of burden somewhere with a big horn on its face. And that's why I like it being like this just one-on-one awful fight, and he's not some superhero. He kind of sucks at it. There's something I really enjoyed about that sequence. Like, I mean, if they cut it out, I'm not going to cry or anything, but like,
right. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying is, it's like, it was just, it was a thing that happened. It didn't, it didn't really do much for me. I did like, little baby Yoda's use of the Force, but this is also like the second time in as many episodes where a beast is hurtling down on him and he has to be saved by somebody else. And so I hope they don't just keep doing that.
Wait, what happened in the first episode?
The blurgs are at him, and then Nick Nolte shoots them.
Oh, on the Mandalorian. I thought you meant bearing down on Yoda. Sorry.
No.
I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but he does get eaten by one of those puppets from the asteroid crater from Empire Strikes Back. Yeah.
I've always wanted to see that.
He just stares it down, though. He's floating in space and just looking at it. That hard look that Mando gets. Mm-hmm. But this is all right, so what do you feel about Yoda using his powers? You didn't hate that?
I didn't hate that. I mean, I kind of expected it because he looks like Yoda, I guess. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's my racial stereotypes.
I didn't like it. Like, I wasn't enamored. But the thing that sold me was that he passed out immediately.
Yeah.
And that felt, I was like, okay, so it naturally, like, it's got some pair bonding with this Mandalorian guy. Like, oh, this, like, it knows on some level that this thing's saving my ass. And it just naturally, I was like, oh, that's a good little bit of business. Okay. All right. I can get behind this.
Yeah. I mean, like, that it wasn't, like you said, it's not just like, yeah, no, I'm all powerful, even though I'm a baby. It's that, yeah, I'm going to use the Force. But yeah, the newer Star Wars are very insistent on the Force hurting you if you use it or taking a lot out of you.
Well, only this and that middle one, because, the Force is fine other than Luke dying inexplicably.
Well, no, Carrie Fisher died from using it. Princess Leia died from using it.
Yeah, that's right. But I kind of forgot. But that was just so obviously the actress died. I kind of forgot they even bothered to write any reason to get it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that movie was fucking terrible. And here's the best, and this might be the moment that I fell in love with The Mandalorian. He fights this fucking monster. This massive reveal of Yoda having powers. Not massive reveal, but like it's far within the show. Like, holy shit, it's using the Force. There's been nothing mystical in the show at all. And then the fucking Jawas just eat the egg.
Yep.
I could not have loved it more.
Yeah, that was cute.
It's so stupid, and it's gross and like orgiastic.
It's so,
like
yeah. There's nothing about that egg that is pleasant because it's hairy. The egg itself is woolly, and that's not good.
A woolly egg, and then they just maw into
go to
like,
town. I know. Yeah,
it is so and it's so Jawa. Yeah, it's not like we know Jawas very well, but boy, that feels like that fits whatever fake personality I put on them from the original movie. Of like, yeah, that just seems like that weird, that weird itinerant cockroach people.
Yeah, I think, talking about it, I think the thing that I'm most excited to see, and the things that in future episodes, the only things I really liked in this episode is when he interacted with other people.
Yeah.
And again, there's a good chunk of this because he can't get his ship back, that he and Baby Yoda are just walking for a while. And that could be an interesting time to build some characters, I think, but that's fine. They didn't. But it was still like, yeah, again, sort of felt like this Western kind of thing with these sprawling vistas and whatever. But at a certain point, like, I need a bit more to go on. And I'm also very curious as to, like, going forward, why are the episodes just as long as they need to be? And I kind of, like, I support that as a show thing because it's like we're not dealing with TV anymore. You're not dealing with the same kind of ad breaks or this, like... I kind of like the first episode was 40 minutes. The second one's like, yeah, it's 30. Next one's like, yeah, 38. But I'm just kind of fascinated by that.
I don't have the answer, but I like it too. I think I wish more shows would do that. Cause there's episodes where, of other shows where you can tell they're trying to fit into TV format, but it's like made for Netflix.
Yeah.
And
well, like that was,
I don't get it.
Any of those Marvel shows, or at least the first seasons of the Marvel shows were like, why are there more episodes? Why are there 13 episodes? You guys were done at episode 8.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's got to be TV. It's TV.
No,
it doesn't.
That's a nice touch on the show. I'm not giving anything away about the later parts of the season, but I will say, I think, given the things you hate about The Mandalorian, I think you're going to like this show more as it goes on.
I'm expecting to. I just don't think, like, basically these first 2 episodes were sort of like eating at a sit-down restaurant in the airport, where it's like, yeah, it's fine. Like it was edible, and it killed some time, and brought me closer to death. So it's okay.
There's a few episodes. There's one, I don't know what episode it is, and I'm not going to give anything away, but there's one episode that I'm so curious because I think you're really gonna like it, but there's a chance you're gonna hate the shit out of it, and I'm really I'm really looking forward to figuring this out.
Exciting. It sounds like a challenge. Now I'm going to spend every episode wondering if this is the one.
Honestly, that can be said about a lot of episodes in the series, because there's one of the cool things we were talking. I mentioned it before that each episode is directed by a different director, which I think was inventive. But
I mean, it tends to happen a lot in TV shows. But usually, it's all kind of like jammed through a showrunner, like the filter of a showrunner. Because like Rian Johnson did some amazing Breaking Bad episodes.
Well, this is Favreau is the showrunner on this. It's Favreau and Filoni are the 2 showrunners. But the way that the directors work, they were pretty much at carte blanche.
That's cool. I do like that.
Which I think is a cool experiment. But I think these first 2 episodes, maybe they should have, and I don't know how you do it. You can't like choose the best directors, but like, I think they didn't start off on their strongest foot. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's just the story they're telling. I don't know how you can, because I keep thinking of, one of my favorite Westerns. I'm not like a huge Western fan, but I love, I think is it The Unforgiven? What's the one with, Clint Eastwood where he's super old and then hooks up with Morgan Freeman?
That's Unforgiven.
Unforgiven. This
hooks up with, like, they just make out for the majority of the movie.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think hooks up with used to be a term before it meant fuck. But
I know. I would watch both of those movies.
And to be fair, they do have a three-way with that lady with the scarred face in the third act. So, but I was thinking about if that was a TV show, it would be like this. Because the first part of that movie is boring. I mean, it's not boring at all. I fucking love that movie. But like, if that had to be a TV show, which I mean, this isn't an argument for it, but like the kind of the sloggy bits in a movie that have to be cut, that have to be more efficient is what we dealt with in these first 2 episodes. And maybe they should have done 7 episodes and just.
I think you could have done like I mean, it's not that exciting of an hour-long opener, but you know, just jam these 2, cut some stuff.
Yeah.
Together, it would have been fine. Because, like I said, my big thing right now is that I don't care what happens. There's nothing at stake here other than I in theory don't want Baby Yoda to die.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's at stake. If Mandalorian doesn't get this guy, like, what happens if he doesn't get money? Well, I don't know. You know, do you have down payment on a boat he needs to make? Because that would be tragic.
Yeah, but it's a boat full of orphans.
Yeah.
Here's my predictions for the rest of the show, because I want to predict things on your reaction. I think you're going to like the show more, and this is going to be the ballsiest claim here. And I want you to, I need you to not close off your heart because I'm saying this, John. This has got to be a gentleman's agreement between you and I.
Okay.
I think you're going to end up liking Baby Yoda. And I say that as someone that knows you and knows how much you hate this fucking thing. Is there some, I think, I did maybe not even like, I'm not saying actively like, but kind of feel okay towards by the end of the show.
I don't like you, but I respect you.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like, just like, yep, it's okay.
I won't be actively seeking his demise.
Exactly. Oh, so we didn't talk about Baby Yoda all that much, but, because he only shows up in a little bit, but that's a good puppet. I mean, that's basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's neat looking.
Because if you watch episode 4 or 5 episodes, Return to the Jedi, that puppet looks like shit.
Yeah,
like it's not like, because the one from Empire is actually pretty good looking.
To be fair.
Oh yeah, that's true. But like but I mean, like, if you're dying, it doesn't look like, you don't turn into looking like a puppet. You look like you're the dying version of the guy we saw in the last movie. Like, it looks like garbage. This one is beautiful.
That's how his race dies. They stay 75 and they slowly turn into sock puppets.
Yeah, you didn't even know that actually the Yoda species from the planet Henson.
Yeah, exactly.
When they die, you can actually see the hand that was puppeting them, and then the hand just quickly ducks under the bed.
It escapes and finds a new host.
Yeah, then they have the episode, Ugnaught, Nick Nolte, and him fix his ship, and he flies away with little baby Yods.
Yeah.
So that's episodes 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yep.
Oh, first I should ask you this. What do you know about The Mandalorian going into the rest of the season?
Well, the show or the guy?
The show. Like, do you know anything about what's going to... Because I tend to watch shows pretty quickly, so this has been out for a while. Like, has anything been spoiled? Do you like, have an idea?
I mean, like, in terms of big plot things, no. I mean, I know, like, cruxes of certain episodes. Like, this one is, like, the townspeople have to fight a guy, and he helps out with that. Or Bill Burr is in an episode.
Oh, that's the thing I was trying to avoid saying before. That's the episode I'm curious about your response on.
Yeah,
because it's Bill Burr's in it. Like, apparently,
because I like Bill Burr, but it's one of those things where, is there a Space Boston?
Yeah, I was about to say the exact same thing. Do you accept the existence of Space Boston?
I no. I rebuke Space Boston. Although, like, it's one of those. It's if it's like a Mormon kind of thing where once you die, you get your own planet, and like Boston just gets its own like racist planet. That's fine. Like, they can have that.
Oh, that would be, oh God, what a terrific afterlife.
Yeah. And they just, I want to make a a planet for me and Fitzy and Fitzy and Fitzy and Fitzy to hang out on.
Oh, it's all white people as far as the eye can see. It's fucking wicked pissa. All right, so no major spoilers. What do you think happens at the end of... Not at the end, but what's your prediction to the rest of the season? Just ballpark. Obviously not major plot points. But what do you think? Where do you think we're going?
He learns how to love and laugh all over again, thanks to Baby Yoda, and he saves the day. Is what I think is going to happen. In a way that doesn't solve all the problems because there's more episodes.
What do you think happens to tall lady that's in Mandalorian Sewerland?
They get married, and then she gets a job doing data entry.
Okay. And then real quick prediction, that doctor guy that almost got shot by Mandalorian, what happens to him?
Oh, the guy that looks like he's from the 70s?
Yes, that guy.
Yeah, he gets addicted to cocaine.
No, he turns into Julian Bashir and joins Deep Space Nine, because boy, does he look like him.
Yeah, no, I would watch that.
Yes.
Someone got bit by a previous Julian Bashir and slowly becomes Bashir.
Yeah, I mean that's how it works in the Delta Quadrant.
That's true.
All right, so because I did the math great, next episode we are going to do The Mandalorian, episode 3, 4, and 5. So we got 2 more episodes of John Alex Hate Stuff run of The Mandalorian. So 3, 4, and 5 for next time.
Woo! Numbers.
Woo, indeed. Remember to like us on Facebook, John Alex Hate Stuff, and Jaws Pod on Twitter. So follow us on things and leave reviews and do all the stuff that other podcasts tell you to do, but we never do because we're not needy, but we're needy now. Do those things.
Yeah, we're needy for 5 minutes an episode.
Yes. Oh, and here's another thing. If you are, you're still employed during the global pandemic crisis thing and you've got some money to donate, speaking of podcasts, is you should donate that money to Black Lives Matter and anything protest related, like for viable sources. Do that right now.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because, that's there's really our friends and John and people are they're getting hit in the face with rubber bullets by fucking stormtroopers. And
yeah, if you want, I can round up a list of things to donate to, and we can share that. Do that. The one I donated to, the NAACP has a bail fund, so just search for that. Or the PDX has a bail fund as well on Venmo. Those are the 2 that I've been donating to that's been my my book earnings for the next month, and all my Patreon stuff has been going to that stuff. So even me, a selfish human pile of excrement, am doing my part. So you out there, go do it, because people are putting their ass on the fucking line to save people's lives. And 20 years from now, you're going to look back and feel like a fucking asshole for being on the wrong side of this. So do what you can. Do it now. Yes, please do.
Yes. But on that note, here's been us talking about some dumb shit Star Wars.
Yep. Which is also important.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, equally important. Because, I don't know. But
if you think about it.
In Star Wars, they don't care about blue skin. They don't care about brown skin. It's all about the Imperial credits, baby.
That's right. Or some weird flan that you can also get paid in.
Yes, I think that was the Calamarian flan. That's the It's a Trap guy.
Yeah, it looked like some kind of candy you would get at an Asian grocery store.
Again, yeah, I don't see race in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, okay. I don't see race in snacks.
Yeah.
Unless they're racing snacks.
Racing snacks. They're delicious. Eat baby calamarians. Okay, bye.
Bye.